Welcome, Mr. Mike Garson, and welcome, Mr. Willem Tanke. Willem, I met you in the Orgel Park, and I saw you perform there, improvising with two Dutch jazz musicians, and afterwards, with a glass of water, you told me about that you met Mr. Garson, and that you had a project, and I was, of course, immediately fascinated, and I wanted to know more about it, because you told me that both of you have some kind of concept about making music. You have the art of doing nothing, and Mr. Garson has the idea of now, with an exclamation mark, or two exclamation marks. Tell me, you're well-known organ player, and you made this 17 years of study of Olivier Messiaen, this beautiful box with all the works of Olivier Messiaen on. Tell me, you two met. What happened? Can you describe?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We met 2 years ago, and Mike was our guest at the Rotterdam Conservatory. And then, for some reason, we started talking about Messiaen, and it appeared that Mike was very enthusiastic about Messiaen. And then we had a long talk about it, and we went to my home, my place, and then I played you the number 5 of Méditation pour Méditation sur le mystère de la Sainte Trinité, and then Mike liked the harmony tremendously, the impact of harmony in the central section of the piece. And after that we started improvising on the piano, forehand, and also we liked that, and then we decided to continue with that. And now we are here after some meetings after that. Also we played on several organs, and a beautiful Baroque organ in Noordwolde, in the north of Holland, and also the large 4-manual organ in Rotterdam, Laurenskerk. And I think we both liked it tremendously, and thought it was a reason to elaborate upon.
And Mr. Garson, we all know you, because you, for a long lifetime already, you are the piano player in the band with David Bowie. For example, on Aladdin Sane, beautiful cover. It's really another era. Huh? Don't you think so? If you look at this,
it's 70s.
Is this, what's your background as a pianist? Where does it come from? Willem is from classical organ. What's your background?
I started off as a classical pianist in New York, and I did that for maybe 10 years, and then I got the desire to play jazz. I heard some improvisation by Dave Brubeck and Errol Garner and Art Tatum and Oscar Peterson and Bill Evans, and I realized I was meant to go in that direction, and I spent the next 10-15 years practicing jazz 8 hours a day, studying with Lenny Tristano, and I had Bill Evans gave me a 6-hour free lesson, and had some lessons with Herbie Hancock, and I was very fortunate. And then I got a telephone call from David Bowie, and I never played rock and roll, and he liked that even more, that I didn't know him, and I didn't know rock and roll, and then the rest is like a series of 17 albums I've done with him and about 15 world tours.
And on the title song, Aladdin Sane, you have a very prominent role. Let's listen to it.
Okay. We just did. Except for the beat.
So, pop music can be very inventive and creative.
That was totally improvised. The thing is, I have to give David Bowie the credit for it, because it's just 2 chords. It's an A and a G chord, And David's just said to me, it was my first album with him, he said, just improvise something. I actually played a blues solo, and he said, no. So then I played a Latin solo. And he said, no, I'm looking for something avant-garde. I said, you sure? It might put you out of work if I play that kind of style. It was 1973. And he said, no, go for it. And it was a one-take, just an improvisation. And I get about 5 to 10 emails a day for the last, 20, 30 years. Based on
till the day, till
even,
this day.
even today. It's the most amazing thing. And I don't understand it, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
There was another version of Aladdin Sane on David Live. It was an album we did a year later. And nobody's ever mentioned that. It was a very good solo also. So it must have been the time and other factors that are much bigger than I know about.
There is a kind of musical kinship, of course, otherwise you won't stay there for 35 years.
I think so.
With David Bowie.
Absolutely.
Okay. This concept of now.
Yes.
I'm going to, in a few seconds, I'm going to ask you to improvise in the now way. Can you explain to me what does it mean?
I was actually doing it then on that recording, but I didn't have the title
it's
for
not
it.
Now, but it's then with an exclamation
That's
mark.
right. Then with it comes from the viewpoint of playing how you feel in the moment. If you can capture that, I don't think it can be done if you haven't done a lot of years of discipline. And I think the infinite discipline equals the infinite freedom down the line. So all the years of practicing allows for it to be able to sit down and play what you feel in the moment. And what you feel in the moment is really based on your environment and everyone in this room. So I don't have a clue what I'm going to play and how it's all going to go out. But sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. But it's as honest as I could be at this point in my life.
Let's try.
You want to try it? You want to play with me along? Save that for
I
Willem.
didn't practice for the last few years.
Okay.
So I think you felt very strong, very
I was aggressive.
energetic, aggressive.
Yeah.
Not really aggressive. Or, no, I don't know.
Energetic would be the word. Yeah, I
yeah.
think so.
Uh-huh.
It felt good to play. It's a pleasure to play a 9-foot Steinway piano. It's a
Okay.
beautiful instrument. It inspires me, you know.
Uh-huh.
And obviously, like I said, I'm affected by who's in the space. So I could feel good listeners. That's the secret.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, I'd rather play by myself in the house.
In a hotel lounge or so. Huh? Yeah.
The hotel lounge is a nightmare. I've done it.
Willem, of course, you did lots of research on Messiaen. And we have an interview in Toonmeesters of Sherry Duins and Rembert de Leeuw. And Messiaen is talking about music. Let's listen to Olivier Messiaen, what he's got to tell about music making.
Comme si nous étions dans un avion. Ben, si nous étions dans un avion, en somme, au début de notre planète, nous sommes une petite planète, la Terre. Nous dépendons du Soleil, qui est une petite étoile de banlieue. C'est une petite étoile, c'est pas une grande. Et nous dépendons de lui, mais nous avons une chance énorme À côté de toutes les autres planètes, nous avons de l'eau et nous avons une atmosphère. C'est pour ça que nous sommes là, d'ailleurs. Nous ne serions pas vivants s'il n'y avait pas l'eau et l'atmosphère. Eh bien, l'eau, c'est très important pour nous, musiciens, parce qu'au début de la planète, il y a eu l'eau et il y a eu le vent. Et ces deux choses-là ont commencé à faire de la musique, l'eau et le vent. Et puis après, beaucoup plus tard, il y a eu l'archéoptérix et puis le pérodactyle. C'était les deux premiers lézards volants qui sont devenus des oiseaux. Les oiseaux ont entendu l'eau, ils ont entendu le vent. Et ils ont essayé de les imiter. Et ils se sont mis à chanter. Et c'est là que la musique a commencé. Et puis beaucoup plus tard encore est arrivé l'homme, enfin l'homo sapiens, l'homme intelligence, comme nous maintenant. Et l'homme aussi s'est mis à chanter. Mais pas si bien que les oiseaux. Et alors j'ai noté beaucoup de chants d'oiseaux dans ma vie. Évidemment, j'ai commencé par la France parce que je suis français. Et il y a tout de même en France quelques oiseaux chanteurs merveilleux. Et le premier oiseau qui m'a séduit quand j'avais 18 ans, je crois, c'est l'alouette des champs.
It's beautiful. Eh?
Yeah.
It's Sherry Downs and Raymond de Leeuw who made this documentary about Olivier Messiaen. And he say, of course, he said water and the wind. It were the first music makers, and then the birds came in and started to sing, and they learned it from the water and from. Willem, this is really your language, huh? Of music making, of.
Yeah. I'm surprised to see this. It is, maybe, it was 10 years ago or no?
For sure, yeah.
And I did not see it after. I saw it then, of course.
Ah.
It's quite impressive to see this fragment again.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
The art of doing nothing. That's
Yeah.
it's very intriguing stuff because you have you were commissioned. How do you say this by the Rotterdam Conservatoire
Yeah, to make research.
on
Yeah.
this topic?
Yeah.
Why? What? The art of doing nothing. What is it with?
Well, I have a definition. It aims at improving mental and physical conditions for musicianship by creating a good balance between performing, improvising, and composing with the help of analysis and research. And Olivier Messiaen happens to be a perfect example of the art of doing nothing because he was a very good performer, both a pianist and an organist. He was an excellent improviser. Of course, he was one of the greatest composers of the 20th centuries. His analysis classes at the Paris Conservatoire in the 50s were famous. They are in every book on the history of 20th century music. Among his students were Stockhausen, Boulez, Xenakis. And then he was also a researcher because he wrote a very monumental 7-volume book.
That doesn't sound like the art of doing nothing. If you,
Yeah,
huh? Or
art of doing a lot.
a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the art of doing nothing?
Yeah,
you
I-
said that
yeah.
there are some stories about Bach that he was very famous of playing.
Yeah, that was my starting point because
Okay.
a contemporary of Johann Sebastian Bach observed the fact that he could play with very tiny movements of his fingers and feet, of course, yet achieve yet achieve a tremendous, powerful musical expression.
Can you try for us to sit there and to move?
Yeah.
I don't know if you move as
Yeah.
little as possible, that we can imagine Bach improvising and that maybe you can,
Yeah, but then in my own
of course, in the
language.
Willem Tanke way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I take a small bird song by Messiaen.
Mike, did you? This had a very nice breath.
I love that.
Did this rolling
It's
technique.
cool, huh?
It's cool. Yeah, I never saw it before. But this thing.
Yeah, it's something we developed. It was first to imitate sounds that African musicians with whom I played made, to imitate or to evoke the enthusiasm that they have in their playing. And then yesterday...
And the normal technique of playing the piano is not enough. You missed something. You missed a technique.
It was a thing that happened, and then... But you have to be careful. You have to not to damage your fingers. It should be very relaxed. That is art of doing nothing. So very relaxed, else you would damage your hands. And so you should be able to play the most difficult and sophisticated thing afterwards. Yeah. And but yesterday evening we had a long phone call. Mike arrived from Los Angeles, and then he told a very good story about a little girl and her mother that he saw in New York City, and that was quite impressive picture. And that is, I think, how we are connected and work, because I reflected upon it and thought at first it was rather loud, this movement, that I can do it very soft and subtle. So that comes out of this picture that Mike gave me yesterday evening. So it influences, and in that way we make a combination.
So now in the end you're going to improvise together. Huh?
Two
So
pianos.
these two worlds of different but also similar backgrounds
so.
come together. Do you have to listen carefully, of course, to what the other one is doing?
Yeah,
And trying to find the other one's language, musical language?
I think so.
And normally you do this on organ, which is beautiful. I'm not really into, till now, I have to say, I wasn't too much connected with the music of organs. And this is really great. This is an old thing, but it will be newly released, I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in May.
Quite in
this
May,
year.
it will be recent. Yeah.
It's so powerful, some of the pieces on there, that one of them that Willem played me 2 years ago, I haven't been able to listen to since then because it was so overwhelming. Both his performance and the genius of Messiaen's composition, and the connection to God, I guess, or divinity, or consciousness, whatever one wants to think of it as. But you could tell the music is bigger than us when you hear pieces like that. And I felt the same way with Bach's music, you know. So, you know, it's a privilege that our paths have crossed.
Yeah.
You know?
And Bowie sometimes has the same kinds of
I
elevation
think so.
sometimes?
I think
For me it has.
There's no question about it.
This is also, for me, improvisations on this new CD of Willem. Huh?
Well,
on,
in fact, this is the
oh,
new
this is
one.
the new. What is the new
That is
one?
the old one.
This is the new
That's the
one.
new
Huh?
one,
Meditation
yeah.
for a Lent, for Vasten. It's beautiful. I would really ask the two of you to go and play a duo, improvised, and maybe from what you just told me that I can figure out what comes from what.
Okay.
Fascinating. Thank you for coming.
Oh, it was a pleasure. Thank
Okay.
you for the interview.
Okay.
Thank you.
Gaat u luisteren naar Mike Garson en Willem Tanke. En zo klonk de gezamenlijke improvisatie van Mike Garson en Willem Tanke.